If you're here today, it's because you're interested in spiritual awakening. So today I'm going to share with you my tips, tricks, and my personal routine when it comes to spirituality. Hopefully it helps you figure out your own and tailor it to your needs. So first of all, I think my number one tip and trick is to make space internally. So space internally, you make that through yoga, meditation, whatever helps you really just get out of your day-to-day head and get into your internal person. You can also leverage journaling, which brings me to my first tip, journaling. So find a type of journaling that works for you. Depending on your needs, you might be looking into self-development journaling, you might be into tapping into your spirituality journaling, you might be into removing some of your blocks, you might be into just emptying your head before you do your meditation, which I discuss in my meditation video if ever you're interested. But really journaling, it's a great tool. Also note that if you're kind of scared of whatever you're going to write down, that someone might ever pick it up, you can always burn your pages. For me, it really helps knowing that I can just burn my pages. Some people also use a whiteboard, a small one when it comes to journaling, so that way they can just really know that they can write whatever they have in their mind and don't feel judged or feared that they would be judged if ever someone would pick up their journal. So that's tip number one. When it comes to tip number two, write out your daily affirmations. So for me, for example, they are: I am loved, I am healthy, I am happy, I am in a healthy marriage, I am lifting others up, I'm connected to my spiritual guides, I'm living a life of abundance, I am safe and I am warm, stuff like that. So really write out your affirmations. There are plenty of tools out there. We also have a free guide on the website, but really write them in the present tense, write them out in a positive manner, and always start with I, right? Because it's all about you when it comes to your positive affirmation. You can say them out loud, whilst you can sing them out, you can dance in front of the mirror, or you can just say them in your head while you brush your teeth. It's really up to you what you want to make out of your affirmations. Okay, then we were talking about journaling. You can also use a little guided journal, I guess you could describe it as. So this one is called Start Where You Are, our journal for self-exploration. And what I really like about this one is that on every single page there's a quote with a super nice visual, and it prompts you to think about some things about yourself. So for me, I really enjoyed this one when I had a blockage about starting this journey of sharing on YouTube and on Instagram and really growing into someone that I really was, but I was fearful to bring that to the outer world. So for example, here's another page. Great resource. There's plenty of those. I bought this one, I believe, on Amazon, but again, you can support the artist directly. There's plenty out there. There's also a daily journal for gratitude that again gives you the same daily prompts, such as what are your gratitudes today, who are you grateful for today, and stuff like that. Then books, podcasts, this YouTube video, whatever floats your boat. I really like to read before I go to bed, so I'm really into books. This is the one. This one is by Dr. Dyer. He wrote, I believe, over 30 or 40 books. I also really like Gabby Bernstein's book. Sorry for my French, I probably don't have the last name right. This one was a reread for me, so this one is the Through Magic, but I'm also gonna add some visual here of some amazing books that I found that really helped me in my spiritual awakening. Now, once you've done the learning, the books, the podcast, there's plenty of YouTube videos again, you can maybe start exploring more. So for me, that looked like exploring with crystals. I really found crystals very interesting because they help me connect with myself, my needs, my chakras, the moon cycles. I felt like the crystals really opened the door to something I didn't even know was there or that I needed. And so for me, I really use crystals simply as a tool to guide me towards more spirituality that I might need in my life. On those, again, there are great resources. I really like Judy Hall, but you know, there's endless of resources out there. What I really liked about Judy is that just like pretty much any booming industry, unfortunately in the crystal industry, you can have fake crystals. You know, some people will sell you counterfeit crystals that are not actually crystals, they're whatever else melted in the shape of a crystal and dyed and whatnot. And in Judy Hall's, she shows pictures of what a real one looks like versus what a fake one would look like. So I really appreciated that. Okay, another tool would be either oracle cards or a tarot deck. Tarot deck? You get my vibe, right? So the cards are great. Honestly, once you connect with the universe and your spirituality, you'll find that the cards really help bring messages. So not everyone necessarily connects through the clairs, which is, you know, clairvoyance, so seeing something, hearing something, or whatever, but everyone has a spirit team working for them. So in order to kind of ask your spirit questions and really understand where you want to move towards, I really highly suggest the cards. Now the cards, you know, I'm showing right now the ones from Alana Fairchild, which I discovered when I was on a wellness retreat. I also really like the ones by Colleen Virtue, but really finds some that speak to you. I'm not really big into tarot decks because it really brings me back into my type A brain, which is, you know, I need to learn everything, know everything. You know, your girl is doing a PhD. Like I have this this thirst for knowledge, and for me, when I don't necessarily understand some things, it just brings me back right into my type A brain when I really want to tap more into my intuition, right? So that's why for me, oracle cards work better than tarot cards, but you do you. One of my closest friends, tarot cards, they jump out of the deck for her and they really speak to her. So you'll find your vibe. I personally like to shop for mine in person so that I can really connect with the deck rather than shop for them online. But if you do shop for them online, just make sure that you look closely at a few cards. You know, don't just buy the first one that's on sale. And lastly, when you're like kind of in this mood, you've done your dancing, you know, your vibe is up and whatnot, and you start connecting more, you know, trustfully and confidently, maybe you want to go for a pendulum. Pendulums are great when you have like yes/no questions. So how pendulum works, and I'm gonna be doing a full videos on pendulums, but how they work is you first set them up with a yes or no question, and then you can start asking your questions. And for me, pendulums have been really great to help me connect more to my gifts of eclairs. So those are my tips to start. Now, as promised, what does my routine look like? So I have two routines, right? I have my morning routine and my nighttime routine. So my morning routine starts out with waking up and I write down my dreams. So when you do journaling, that might be some type of journaling you want to look into, writing out your dreams. So I first thing I do without even getting out of the bed or petting my cat is I write down my dreams in my journal. After I wrote down my dreams, I then put on a meditation playlist, Usually I use one that will brings me towards gratitude. So I do a quick meditation in the morning, really simple, usually 5 to 10 minutes max. And then from meditation, I'll usually get up to use the bathroom and brush my teeth, scrape my tongue. So when I do that, I just say things out loud that I'm grateful for. Or I can say them in my head too. Sometimes, you know, I'll just be, thank you universe for this amazing body, thank you universe for this super comfortable bed, thank you universe for the amazing husband that you led me to. You know, and it's a snowball effect. You say one and then the smallest things will come up and then it'll just fill your heart. And it feels so good to start your day out with this amount of joy. Then I'll come back to bed and I'll share with my husband one thing I appreciate with him, and he's gonna share one thing he appreciates about me. So that also sets the mood for the day. Then after petting the cat, I get up and I'll look in the mirror, and this tip I got from Tony Robbins. I watched one of his videos once and it really stuck with me. And the tip is to really embody how you want to feel. So I look in the video and I really go all out. I say my mantra or I say my daily affirmations. So it's really up to me. Sometimes I want to say my daily affirmations and sometimes I'll keep them for later and I'll say my mantra of being very fulfilled and what I'm expecting out of this year. So I do that in the mirror, and if you saw me, you'd probably laugh, but that's okay. It doesn't really matter. What matters is how much it brings my energy up. And then I take the dog out, and after that, I just go through simple movements. So usually I do between 10 and 20 minutes. It'll either be Pilates or yoga. I used to be big on you know, more HIIT workouts, but that really brings out the fire energy that I have in me, and I need more grounding. So that's what my morning looks out like. And you know, if I'm not working that day, I usually have breakfast around like noon or something, and I can get up, you know, at 7:30 or 8. So my mornings are really more about spirituality, connecting with outside, with nature, drinking lots of water, and I feel like that fills me up so much. So that's my morning routine. Now, my evening routine. Evening routines are very different. So usually evening I'll do a guided journaling. So I'll use either a guide that I found online, I'll do a challenge, whatever it is, I'll do my journaling at night. Then after I did my journaling, I'll meditate, this time for longer, and in order for me to connect with my guides. So for me, it looks very different. I'm just working on establishing my strong connection, and it's working really well. So that's how I see that, you know, all of those practices are great. So I connect with my guides, you know, I write down everything that I hear, and then I'll usually use my pendulum to validate everything that I heard, which for me has been a godsend, because I hear a lot of things, but sometimes it's like, is this one for me? I'm not sure. And then once a week, I'll also do a full oracle session. So I'll draw 3 cards and I do a whole oracle session. And then afterwards, I go in bed and start reading. So I'll do that usually with my husband. So it's a great way for us to connect really physically, with no screen time. So that's really great. So we read, and after reading we say our gratitudes for the day. So we both lay out like a full list of what we're grateful for, and it really stuck with me. A few years ago I heard this quote from Oprah that said, you know, everyone can be grateful for something, even if it's just that your iced tea was the right temperature that day. That's what Oprah said, and it really connected with me. We can all be very grateful for something. And reading many books about like the Dalai Lama and stuff he went through, and other people that went through big hardship and were, you know, in just those very terrible conditions, how grateful they were and how they were able to connect with that. That for me was a big signal that I can be grateful for literally anything in my life, because my life is so abundant and I mean that much. So anyways, that's what it looks like for me. I hope you enjoyed this video and thank you for connecting today.